George Ondek with the Get on Deck with George show. And again, I'm doing one of my Slice of Life shows. Tonight, I have Miss Teresa Chang with me and Miss Adriana
Memily.
Memely. And you are Miss Cinco de Mayo.
I am.
And with you is the organizer of the Miss Italia and Cinco de Mayo pageants in Peekskill.
That's right. I am the executive director.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about it? You're the executive director, and I'm very honored tonight to have two such beautiful women on the George Ondek show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am one of the two executive directors of Peekskill Pageants. My business partner, Jillian Clausen, couldn't be here.
Very wonderful person on the Board of Education in Peekskill.
That's right. That's right. We run the annual Miss Italia Hudson Valley and Miss Cinco de Mayo Hudson Valley pageants. And with me is this year's current winner, Ariana Memely.
How are you, Ariana?
I'm good, George.
How does it feel to be Miss Cinco de Mayo?
It's really good. It's you feel sort of responsibility. You have to keep a good public image, which is good in general. And it's nice to know that people look up to you, especially young girls of Peekskill. Whenever I did parades of any sort, the little girls would look up to both me and Miss Italia, and they would just have this grin on their face. So that's kind of the best feeling.
And I understand you did many parades in the past year and many events. How did you like going around Westchester County and Hudson Valley as Miss Cinco de Mayo?
It was really interesting because when you do these events and such, you know, these things, and you see these people and they look at you and they're all happy, but then when you see them, you know, and you're just dressed in your regular clothes, no crown, no sash, they don't even know who you are.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen people, I'm not going to name names, but people who I've worked with on certain events with, and I've seen them at the Peekskill Coffee House, I've seen them plenty of places.
So they look at you
It's the
in
crown,
a
it's the
different
crown.
light
It's the
when
crown.
you don't have your crown on. And that crown is a beautiful crown. Where did you get that from?
It was made in China.
In China?
Yes, it was.
Everything is made in China
Yes,
these
most
days.
of your crowns are made in China, except for the Queen's. The Queen of England's are made in England.
Why is that? And I hear that this crown is heavier than the Queen's crown. Is that true?
That is true.
How do you feel about that, Adriana?
Oh, gosh. It's a big headache, I tell you.
But you don't have to wear it long, an hour or two at a time at the events?
Something like that. Well, it depends because of the events are very like interactive. I have to do things, especially at the one that I did, what was it?
Operation Prom?
Operation Prom. I had this crown on for a while.
5 hours.
And I was helping girls pick out dresses. I was holding hangers.
By the way, let's talk a little more about that. I heard that Operation Prom is a tremendous thing for girls who can't afford a prom dress. I wish they had them when I was going to high school. Maybe my wife and I, she was my girlfriend, and weren't rich enough to go to the prom. And to afford a tuxedo and a dress.
Yeah.
So whoever organized this, that's a tremendous thing. I think they get a prom dress for $1 or something.
This year it was done for prom. We actually attended 2 Operation Proms. One was done by Senator Ball's office up in Mayo Pagent, and it was $1 a gown.
Oh, wow.
And it was organized through Operation Prom's founder, Noelle Dialaco, a wonderful lady, really wonderful lady. And then the second was done in White Plains, and that one, the gowns were free.
Wow.
And it was an amazing opportunity for us. The girls were one of 4 prom ambassadors this year.
Wow.
So it was wonderful.
It was a tremendous success, I would like to think.
And Ariana, let's get back to you wanting to be Miss Cinco de Mayo, or When did you first get involved with wanting to be a Miss anything? How old were you? And
Oh, well, when I was little, I would get things from pageants in New York. They just send you, flyers and stuff. My mom wasn't really too keen on letting me do pageants. So it was probably when I was 18, I met Teresa at the Board of Education meetings that I was attending.
in Peekskill?
Yes, in Peekskill.
And you are a product of the Peekskill school system.
Yes, I am.
Oh, very good. Excellent.
I am graduated 2013.
And you're going to college now?
Yes.
And what are you majoring in?
I'm majoring in public relations and advertising.
But I cut you off. You were telling us why you got involved in pageants and how you did. Was this the only pageant you were ever in? Or?
Well, let's see. Let's finish how I got into pageants first. Teresa approached me, I think it was in the coffee house. She just had a bunch of flyers in her arms, and she would look like she had to be somewhere, but she said she was looking for me, or she was going to call me or something like that, and she offered.
She's beautiful.
Well, she's not only beautiful, she's intelligent, too.
Exactly.
What are the qualifications? What do you have to go through? Is it anything like the Miss America pageant, where they have a beauty pageant? A question and answer?
Well, I haven't been involved in too many other pageants,
but I mean this one.
This one, this one and Miss Italia are both run the same way. Mm-hmm. So this one, you had to have a casual or a business attire type outfit originally. Then they do a questionnaire kind of thing. Then after that, you I think during the questionnaire you wear your evening gown. So that's about it. And they have like a lot of questions about your heritage because these are heritage-based pageants.
And tell me about your heritage. You're Miss Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, a bit of a mutt.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
What is your other heritage besides? Well, I cut you off.
My mother's full Puerto Rican.
Uh-huh.
My father was born in Caracas, Venezuela. But his mother is from the Canary Islands in Spain, and his father is from Potenza in Italy.
Oh, wow.
So I'm both lots of Hispanic heritages, but I'm also Italian. So that's I also ran for Miss Italia as well. That was my first pageant. But I enjoy it. You get to meet a lot of, a lot of girls.
Now, do you feel like you're a role model for younger girls, and what do you advise them?
I feel
aspire to in their lives.
I feel like I'm a role model specifically for a lot of girls in Peekskill because a lot of girls in Peekskill are of Hispanic heritage.
Right.
But I also feel like a lot of kids who go to high school here feel like they're just never going to get out of Peekskill. So my advice to that is you can get out of Peekskill. You have to work at it because if you don't work at your grades, you're going to be here forever. And of course, there are people that come back and they enjoy the rest of their lives here, but you don't want to be stuck here, unwillingly. You want to go out and see the world, and if you want to come back, you come back.
Peekskill is a wonderful place, but it's a small little city. But a person does want to see the world. I'm from the inner part of Yonkers, a ghetto part of Yonkers. And through education, I've seen the world, and through my military service, yes. So it's interesting. I want to hear more about how you organize these beauty pageants.
Well, originally we started
with... What motivated you, Ms. Chang?
I can't say no to people. It started
nice. That's wonderful.
It started with the Italian festival. Somebody asked me to help out the Italian festival. And
in
then
Peekskill?
In Peekskill.
My hometown?
And mine.
Yes, for the past 25 years.
Wow.
Okay.
So we were looking for a sort of new thing to do at the festival, and we decided to do a beauty pageant, and it was sort of my idea. So they said, fine, roll with it. So we rolled with it, and we had our first...
And this was at the Italian festival?
Yes, at the Italian festival.
And where was the judging done at?
The judging was done at the Elks Club that year.
Oh, fine club. I'm an elk. but I've got to transfer over to Peekskill. I'm a Yorktown elk right
wow.
now.
So
That's a fine organization too.
it is.
Peekskill.
It is. And so we held our first Miss Italia there, and she was actually Miss Festa Italiana then. And then somewhere in the middle of the year, we switched her over to Miss Italia so we can continue it on.
It must take a lot of work on your part to set this up and everything.
It does. It's a lot of going out to get sponsors, and we're always looking for sponsors.
You're a non-for-profit group, right?
I know. We're actually a for-profit, but
Okay.
whatever revenue we make, we donate to the Assumption.
The
to the
Assumption
Church of the
Church?
Assumption,
Oh,
yes.
that's fantastic.
And then one day after Miss Festa Italiana, I was talking to Ruben, who owns Ruben's Mexican Cafe.
Fine Mexican restaurant
Yes.
in Peekskill.
And he also organizes the Cinco de Mayo festival. And he said he'd like Miss Cinco de Mayo. And that's how Miss Cinco de Mayo was born.
Oh, wow.
So
The festival this year, was it very successful? I think I was out of town, so I missed it.
it was successful. There were a lot of people there until it had a little rain.
A little
Oh,
rain.
there always has to be rain on a parade, right?
It was, everybody ran for shelter, but everybody seemed to run into the restaurants, and they were crowded.
And I know Cinco de Mayo is the 5th of May, and it celebrates Mexican independence.
Correct.
But all Spanish people celebrate that day.
I think
don't they?
everybody celebrates
okay.
the Cinco de
Yeah,
Mayo in the
just
United
like with
States.
an Irish festival.
Right, everybody
yes.
celebrates it,
Yeah.
yeah.
I did some research on Cinco
Yes,
de Mayo.
let's hear about it, because I'd
Actu-
like to know more about it.
Actually, Cinco de Mayo represents the Battle of Puebla, which is when the French, I believe, tried to take over, I think, Mexico City. I believe that's a city. And so you have all these Mexican people kind of lined up in the main street to get into the city. And they fought these French, I think, military people who they had much more advanced weaponry, and the Mexicans won. Of course, later on,
Way to
the
go.
French kind of took over, I believe, but that was, it's a celebration that these people who had advanced weaponry and more skill in fighting were defeated by people who were just farmers.
What was that way back in the 1800s
I
or
believe.
before that?
It was 1800s, I think.
Wow.
I'm not. I did the research before the Cinco de Mayo festival because every year they ask that question. I knew that, so I figured I'd do some research. And I hold the title. I should know what the celebration
No,
is
I
about.
hear you're only going to have your crown for one more week, but you will
Yes.
have it forever because you'll be Miss Cinco de Mayo 2013.
Correct.
But Ms. Chang, where is this year's festival being held? And if people see this within the next week, how can they be there, or how can they become a sponsor?
Okay, well, if you want to become a sponsor, you can go to peekskillpageants.com, and you'll find all of my contact information there. We welcome sponsors. If anybody wants to sponsor the next pageant, we're looking for sponsors. That would be fine.
And this year's sponsor?
This year's sponsor is Ruben's Mexican Cafe and MMG. They are providing the girls with...
What's MMG?
MMG is a modeling agency in New York City.
Really? Wow.
One of the prizes that they are giving is a 3-year non-exclusive modeling contract
Wow.
to the girls, to both Miss Cinco de Mayo and Little Miss Cinco de Mayo.
Wow, that's tremendous. Plus, did I hear that Miss Cinco de Mayo and Miss Italia get a scholarship as well?
They get
$500?
$500, and if they'd like to enter another pageant, we will pay up to $500 of that fee.
So the majority of the money goes back to either scholarships or to Assumption Church.
The Assumption
So
Church.
sounds non-for-profit to me.
It does, but
Yeah.
we weren't sure which direction it was going to go.
Okay.
And these are culturally based
Yes.
pageants. It's all about promoting the Italian heritage and culture, and all about promoting the Hispanic heritage and culture. We do local events. We try to get as many Peekskill events because this is where our roots are. But at the same time, the Italian embassy sends us events for the girls to attend, and I have a few Hispanic embassies that has approached us for the girls to attend Hispanic events. So, and that is what it's all about. It's about promoting the culture.
So, Adriana, what are your future aspirations?
In
Ariana, I'm sorry.
That's okay. In pageantry or just in general?
No, in your future. You're going to college
well,
for public relations?
I'm going to college for public relations, that's true. I'm hoping to get a degree and finish college. Well, I hope
work
to
in PR?
Yes,
or?
I would love to work in PR. Probably fashion PR would be my
Wow.
favorite. I do enjoy, you know, fashion. I'd love to live in the city. I hear eventually after you live in the city for a long time, though, you want to leave. But I hope to go abroad at some point next semester.
I heard it's a great place for young people in the fashion industry and the modeling industry.
Yes, so I'm hoping to go to England next semester,
wow,
or the semester after next, yes. At some point I'd like to get back into pageantry. I'm not sure if I want to continue. If I don't make the cut to go abroad, then I'll continue doing pageants for this 2014 to 2015 pageant year. But if I go, then I don't want to win a pageant and then have to...
So immediately you're not thinking of running for Miss New York State or beauty pageant?
That's in January.
Or Miss America?
That's in January.
Oh,
so
okay, so that's a while.
That's a while away, but I'm really just looking forward to just exploring new opportunities that I could possibly have.
Have you traveled much around America?
East Coast, yes. I've been in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia.
You have to get out to the West Coast.
I do. I really want to go.
Thanks to my military service, I served time in Denver, Colorado, and what a beautiful state that is. You have to get out there. Have you ever been to Colorado or California?
I haven't been to California or Colorado, but I have been to Utah.
That's nice. That's near it.
Yes.
Were the Rocky Mountains there?
Yes, the Rocky. We went skiing.
Aren't they beautiful?
Absolutely.
We lived in Aurora, Colorado, which was next to Denver and Rocky Mountain National Park. It had mountains 3 miles high, and on the 4th of July, it had snow caps on them.
Yes.
We were throwing snowballs at each other on the 4th of July, and that was in 1969.
Wow.
And my wife and I look forward to going back there again.
Yeah,
my son was born there, by the way.
Oh, wow. Very nice.
So, so you're going to continue on with the pageants. What happens now? What's the date of this pageant and where it's being held?
Our next pageant is next Friday, May 30th. It is going to be held at the Bedars Theater at the Ossining Public Library.
What's the name of the theater?
Bedars, B-U-D-A-R-Z.
And what time of the...
The pageant starts at 7 o'clock. Tickets will be available online. I'm not sure exactly where online. If you go to peekskillpageants.com, you should find some information on how to purchase tickets.
Do you have many contestants this year?
This year we do have quite a few contestants signed up.
And what are the qualifications for a girl to either run for Miss Italia or Miss Cinco de Mayo?
Well, for Miss Italia, you have to be 16 to 26, never married, single, never had a child, and you have to be of Italian descent. For Miss Cinco de Mayo, you have to be 16 to 26, never married, single, never have had a child, and you have to be of Hispanic descent, not just Mexican, any Hispanic country. And that includes Spain, because that has been a question.
What are some of the things I might have left out? I think I'll have you ask Ariana.
From this year, what is your, from all the events you did this year with us, what is your most memorable experience?
It's a really small one. It's recent. When we read to the children of Oakside School, I really love working with children.
Sounds like you'd like to be a teacher someday.
When I was younger, I really wanted to be a teacher, but I just don't have the patience. So it was nice to go in and just read the book and then leave. But I love that they were so interested in me, and we connected and we talked and they asked questions and they were just so excited to see me. It was really nice, and I read them one of my favorite childhood books, The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. So I really enjoyed it. I really love working with kids, just not like a teaching. Like at school, I'm in, I'm going to join my next semester, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, because...
It sounds like you would be good in child psychology, too. That may be another field you might want to look into. But there's so many fields open to you at this point.
I really do enjoy public relations.
And you're in your first year of college?
I'm in my first year of college. I have probably a 3.6 right now.
Wow.
I had a 3.7, but this semester I got
a product of Peekskill Education, who's like on a dean's list.
I am on a dean's list.
And I heard you speak once at an educational meeting, and you were very eloquent.
Oh, well, I mean, my heart was in it, so, you know.
But we won't get into anything political.
No political anything, but I really do enjoy public relations. That is my niche.
But again, you were asking her questions.
Well, do you know, I just have to say, do you know what one of the favorite parts about my being executive director is I get girls and I see them at the beginning, they're very quiet, and then as the year goes on and they attend events, because technically they're celebrities for the next year,
of course.
You know, and they're treated like princesses. And I see them come out of their shells and I see them become more confident. You know, there are times, and I think Ariana could tell you, that I pull them aside and I say, you know, you have to come out of your shell. You have to be a little bit more confident.
So you see a metamorphosis.
I was just listening to her and I said, oh my God, she's grown. And
that happens in 1 year.
Right.
You know, it took me about 30 years to come out of a shell. I was a very quiet, shy person. And look, today I'm a host of a TV show.
I know, look at that. You see? And
things can happen.
Exactly. And, you
have to go after something in life. You can't be shy. If you want something, you go after it. I think that's a good lesson to learn from tonight.
You can't be afraid because of the outcome, because then you'll never try it anyway.
If you think people are going to say no, and you don't ask, you don't get. But if you take a chance, who knows? You may hit Mars, not the moon. Is that a good philosophy?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think one thing I learned in my public relations class this year, which was just history of public relations, we learned ask for the most you possibly can think of, but take the least you're given. Or take.
If you ask for $1 million, you might get $500,000.
Yeah, exactly.
What's so bad about that? But if you don't ask at all, you don't get. That's a good lesson in life, I think we went over tonight. But we're getting pretty near the end of the show. You have any more questions you want to ask her?
Hard-hitting questions from Teresa Chang.
Hard-hitting questions. No hard-hitting questions.
Are you taking your crown to England?
Has it really changed your life since you became Miss Cinco de Mayo?
Yeah, I can hands down say that it has changed my life.
Are other girls jealous of you?
I can't speak for other women.
Are boys more interested?
When I have the crown on, yes. When I don't have the crown on, not so much.
Oh, you mean like when I don't have my suit on, I'm just regular
Joe.
Who's he? But, he's on television. Talk show host. And we have about 5 minutes. Again, I'm going to ask you to ask her more questions. A talk show host has run out of questions to ask. Can you believe that? And you know her better than me.
Oh, no, as I said, that's what I noticed right now, and I see how they grow, and that's one of the best things that I feel I contributed to.
So what do you see for the future of your organization of running the Miss Italia and the Miss Cinco de Mayo? Do you think it'll grow even more than that? Will you do other beauty pageants? Or?
Well, we are only 2 people. We are restructuring our board. Right now, we have one board governing both Miss Italia and Miss Cinco de Mayo. After Miss Cinco de Mayo, the Miss Cinco de Mayo pageant, we're going to have a meeting and we're going to restructure, and we're going to have a Hispanic board and an Italian board to govern each pageant, so to say, or the events and things like that, because I feel that it's important. You know,
You're not going to have a Miss Polish or Miss Czechoslovakian Peekskill?
You know,
I think I'm going to have to start an
takes a lot.
organization with that, or a Miss Russian.
It
That
takes
takes a
a
lot.
lot
It
of
does
work.
take a lot of
It
work.
takes a lot. The two that I have right now, as she can tell you, on the weekends I'm with them. As of Monday, we're in the Brooklyn Memorial Day Parade. You know?
Brooklyn?
Yes, we
Brooklyn.
are.
So she does travel
And
all
then,
around
and
the
then the
state.
following
Ew.
weekend
Not
we're back.
just Westchester?
Right, and the following weekend we're back
Well,
in
I
Brooklyn.
got good news for you. Besides being on my show in 40 different northern Westchester cities, this goes on YouTube, where you'll be seen all over the world.
Oh,
Wow,
wow.
wow.
So you're
That's
going to
great.
get very good coverage on the Get On Deck
Get
show
On
with
Deck.
George, with Jorge on deck. How's that? Now, I know very little bit of Spanish, but I must say to my audience, I've been with two lovely senoras and senoritas, Benita Senora, Benita Senorita, and you're both Linda Rosas. How is my Spanish?
Very
You're
good.
Very good.
Very
Very
good.
good, yeah.
And you know how I'm learning Spanish?
How?
By going into a coffee house or a
Or Rubens.
short stay restaurant, and if someone is Spanish, I ask them to teach me one word. And I figure in 365 days, I know 365 words.
That's true.
That'll get
And
you
I've
by
been
in the
working on
country.
that for the past year and a half, 2 years. And you know, I think in today's day and age, it's good to be bilingual.
It is.
1 minute.
And with that, we're closing out. So what do you have to say in closing, and what do you have to say in closing? Let people know where you can be reached at.
Absolutely. If you go on peekskillpageants.com, all my information is there. And
PeekskillPageants.com. And what would you like to say in closing?
Well, I'm very honored that I have been on the George Ondek show.
Oh, wow, I'm honored to have had you tonight.
But if anyone's interested in pageantry, just you know where to find Teresa. She's all about town.
And
But
Teresa-
it really does change a person for the better, I
And
think.
Teresa's a wonderful name. It's the name of my granddaughter and my mother-in-law, and she was a lovely lady. With that, this has been the Get On Deck show with George. I've presented two beautiful people from Peekskill tonight. Thank you again, Miss Chang,
thank you.
and thank you again.